We are back in studio today, and we are going to tell our tales of everywhere that we've been, doing our 23 and 23 events and our birthday parties and Impact, and we'll answer your questions. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Cash Compound Podcast. I'm your host, Jonah, and with us today is Ryan. Ryan, say what's up.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
I love it. So we actually have a little bit of a fun episode to do today. It's a little bit of a recap of some of the things that we've been doing. We've been traveling all over the country, man, speaking about the infinite banking concept to you and your family and friends. And so we thought we would share a little bit about where we've been, about what we've been up to, and answer some of the frequently asked questions, or at least talk about those frequently asked questions that we've been getting over the last few weeks.
Yeah, which a lot of them are really good questions, so it'll be good to just kind of clarify and get everyone on the same page.
For all those folks out there who probably a lot of people, what you'll notice is a lot of people ask the same type of questions.
Yeah.
And so really what that means is for you guys who are watching at home or listening at home, you probably have those exact same questions as well, but you just might not have asked them yet. So hopefully by us answering those frequently asked questions and things that we've been walking through and talking through with other folks, you'll get your questions answered as well. So let's jump into it. Where have we been? You went a couple places with us.
Yeah, so I went on the Charleston trip.
Okay.
That was a few weeks ago. Then you went to Milwaukee the following week, right?
That's right.
And then last week we went to Nashville.
That's right. In the middle, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep.
So what's been happening is the Money Multiplier has actually been putting on what they are calling 23 and 23. It is a live event series where we've been going to different towns and speaking about the infinite banking concept. So just like you mentioned, Charleston, Milwaukee, Nashville, I feel like we did another one, but maybe I'm just missing where it was. But it's okay. No big deal.
If we did, I wasn't a part of it. I mean, we did our Greer one.
Yeah, of course. We also, of course, do live events here in our town of Greer, South Carolina. I think in that last month or so process as well, I did a few private events. I did a birthday party for a young lady turning 50 years old in Columbus, Ohio. And I also did an event called the Impact event, which had a bunch of good speakers, but that was put on by a gentleman by the name of Ken MacArthur, I believe is his name. I don't want to get that wrong, but I believe that was his name. So we've got a few fun things to show. I got lots of photos. I don't even know if Ryan's seen this one. This is him presenting. So if you're listening to our podcast today, you've got to go check out the YouTube video if you want to see some of the photos. We got a couple photos from some of the fun things that we've been doing, but we've got a couple things to show. This is a photo if you're watching on YouTube, from the birthday party in Columbus, Ohio. So that was fun.
What a cool event, though. Like, what an interesting way to celebrate your life.
Yep.
To celebrate another year is to say, hey, let's go ahead and all learn about this together and try to work together to grow everything.
That's right.
Grow our wealth.
That's right. So I'll actually share a little bit. So this young lady, again, turning 50 years old, is a professor at The Ohio State University.
Okay.
I believe I said that appropriately for all those Ohio folks out there.
Do you know what she teaches?
A business class. I don't know the particular name of the class, but It was a business class. And she actually teaches, I believe, there and at a community college as well in the town, a business class.
Cool.
So what she did is she actually invited a significant amount of her business students to the birthday celebration, and she asked me to come up and speak about the infinite banking concept because she had actually just recently started with the policy and was having so much fun and success with it.
That's always what we want to hear.
Yeah, so it was a really cool event, and everyone was business savvy, owned a small business, was starting a small business, wanted to start a small business, and so we got to chat with them about infinite banking. It was a really good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good food, and it was like a business brunch party.
And we've had a pretty good time at our 23 events too.
We sure have. I got another photo for you guys here if you're watching us, and this is from the Impact event in, where was that? I think that was in Philadelphia. That was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just in this last 1 month or so. So lots of fun people there, lots of great interaction. I actually got to meet a couple of people who I had heard some things about, but I hadn't ever actually met them. We do a couple of well, I should say it more like this. There's a gentleman by the name of Larry Steinhaus who's really involved in the money multiplier system, and he was actually at the event. So I got a book from him, and he signed it, and it was fun. Kind of going through there. Here's some more photos from I believe this is Milwaukee, if I have this correct. If I'm thinking about it correct. You don't recognize
That was not
one.
Charleston.
Okay, not Charleston.
So most likely Milwaukee.
Most likely Milwaukee. There we go. We got some pic photos from Milwaukee where we were teaching people about infinite banking. And this is a little bit of Nashville, Tennessee. And our good friend Linus right there in the background. Shout out to Linus if you're watching or listening to us. Big shout out to you. It was great meeting you. Also Landon Chebin as well. Very good meeting you at that event. Thank you for coming.
Yep, both money multiplier peeps.
Yep, that's right. And here's one last photo for you before we jump into our questions. Just hanging out a little bit on the night on the town, I guess. Not really. We just kind of went to dinner.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
But Taylor Swift was playing.
Taylor Swift was in Nashville that night, so we were
just across the way, right?
We were on the wrong side of the river, according to the Nashvillians.
Yeah,
I don't know what river it is, but that's what they told us.
Wrong place, right time.
Yeah. So anyway, with all of these events, we do lots of events. If you are interested in seeing us live and in person, or you want to invite your family, friends, coworkers, whoever it might be, you've just got to check our event page. It's actually on our website. So what you're headed for is thebankingbros.com/events. And that's where you can see where we'll be next. And we'd love to see you in person, meet you, have lunch, breakfast, dinner, coffee, whatever it might be, answer your specific questions. But in doing all of these events, what we've realized is we've got lots and lots and lots of frequently asked questions. Mm-hmm. So I thought that today's episode would be a little bit of fun if we went through those frequently asked questions and we kind of chatted about a few.
Yeah, and real quick, a lot of these questions, they're asked on the front end in the presentations, and then even in the follow-up calls, a lot of these questions might be brought up again, and it's a lot of information. So the presentation's great, but the reason why we recorded it and put it on the YouTubes is because it's a lot of information. Revisiting it is a very helpful thing. So anyway, these are good questions.
Yeah, and it's the same reason why we want to do a one-on-one call with you, even if you're interested in getting started, because most people have those specific questions that they want to know or get answered about their specific, situation.
Yeah, the presentation's the philosophy behind it. The call is the nuts and bolts of how it works.
I like that. Okay, so I've got one. You actually got this question today.
Indeed, I did.
Okay, so I want to know how you answered it.
All right.
Say the question was, I've never heard of whole life insurance before. How does that work?
Okay. So the name is a big deal. Whole life. So when you look at
how long that lasts.
Part of you. No. Whole life. Your whole life. There we go. So it lasts your whole life. The majority of the policies that we put through, it's until age 121.
That's right.
So I don't know about you, but I don't think I'll make it that far. Sometimes we get people who ask, what if I don't die?
Yeah. It's happened to me once or twice, actually.
So you're not going to make it to 121, or you're planning on making it to 125. That's impressive.
Yep.
So anyway, whole life policy. So with a term policy, you have a certain amount of time. It's active for a term. Whole life, because it's for your whole life, the premium, they're going to require a bit more from it. However, you are going to be able to use the cash value that you get from that policy. So what ends up happening is as you put money toward the premium, and we call it a premium deposit here because we look at it as this isn't just an insurance policy, this is our personal bank. Cha-ching. So as we put money into that, the insurance company will allow us to leverage part of the death benefit that we've paid for as cash value, and that's what we use to take loans from, to spend on the things that we want/need, and it's great because it's OPM, other people's money.
That was a great answer.
Cool.
That's literally perfect.
And then, I'll go ahead and add on that two more things. We use a whole life insurance policy from a mutual company that pays dividends. Mutual company meaning the policy owners are sharers in the company to a degree. And then dividends are basically a bonus that's paid at the end of the year, whatever they didn't have to pay for death benefits or whatever costs they may have had, they redistribute that back to the policy owners. So that's what a whole life insurance policy is in a nutshell.
I love it. The people want an applause. Good answer. Good answer. I've got nothing to add because that's exactly what it is. So if you're one of those people out there who have not heard of whole life insurance before, that's okay. It's either basically one of those situations where it's like you have or you haven't, right? Mm-hmm. It's like either I know one or two things about insurance or I really don't know anything about insurance. And I'm not faulting you for not knowing. If that's not your area of expertise, if that's not your business, if that's not what you've been paying attention to, then why would you know? Right?
There's that, and the majority of the language that's out there, and by that I mean Dave Ramsey is one of the big proponents of don't buy whole life insurance, go with term, invest the difference and everything. So we hear that one a lot as well. Right. And it's a good question because you hear a lot of this financially savvy advice, and the majority of it is great with Dave Ramsey. Don't get into debt. Pay, live within your means, things like that. But the way that we utilize a whole life insurance policy as a personalized bank, it's different than what he discusses when he talks about the negatives of whole life.
That's right. That's right. We've actually recently, we should actually do a whole episode on this. We should just kind of go through his site and see what he's saying about whole life and debunked his false teachings.
Yeah, right? we did that together, and it was beneficial.
Yeah, but a lot of it is just wrong. That's not it. That's not how that works. That's not, even some of the things that he was saying is just not correct about it. So maybe we'll do that on a future episode later on this week. But all right, you got a question for me. You pose it, I'll answer it.
All right. So one of the questions that we get a decent amount is, what companies do you use? If I'm using an insurance company as my personal bank, which ones are you using? Because a lot of the time they want to check up on them and then make sure that they're legit.
I agree. We do get this question a lot. Almost every time that I go to answer this question, I hit them with this. Before I answer, let me tell you why it's not important that you get this information, right? And here's really what I mean. Okay, when we talk about using a whole life insurance policy from a mutual company that pays dividends, I did not specifically say what company it was. I said a mutual company that pays dividends. Here's what a lot of people miss. They just assume that any old company, any old policy you can do this with. And that's just not true. It's just not true. And I'll explain it. And here's how I always explain it. I'll explain it to you on the phone. If you ask this question, I'll explain it to the next person tomorrow like this. You've probably got car insurance. I've got car insurance too, but that doesn't actually mean that we have the same thing. You could have an option on your car insurance called towing, and I might not have that option. Now we're both just going to call it car insurance. Right? You might have rental car coverage as an option on your car insurance, and I might not have that option. But again, we're both just going to call it car insurance in passing. That's just what's going to happen. And there's even differences between companies. A lot of people just don't realize. I explain like this. You've seen the Allstate commercials. I'll do my best Allstate man voice, okay? If you drive safe, I can't even do it. But anyway, he says he'll cut you a safe driving check if you drive safe. I've seen the commercials, right?
It was a valiant effort.
Right, thank you. But if you watch Flo at Progressive or Jake at State Farm, they say nothing about checks when you watch their commercials. Well, it's because Allstate actually has different options than State Farm, and State Farm's got different options than Progressive. A lot of people don't realize that life insurance works the exact same way. So you might have a really great car insurance company, and you go, can I use that company for an infinite banking policy? And the answer could be yes, but at the same time, the answer could be no. Maybe they don't have the right options. Maybe they don't have the right products. Maybe they're not the right, you see what I'm saying? Like it's not actually about the company. It's about making sure you find a mutual company that pays dividends, that has the right product and the right options. So that's generally how I answer a question like that. I just wanted people to think, and I hope it relates to people well, because they understand their car insurance pretty well. And again, I'm not saying people know car insurance like that, but I am saying that if I say, hey, you've got towing and I don't have towing, people relate to that. Oh yeah, that's totally an option. It cost me $8 a month to have it. That kind of makes sense that there's options on other insurances too, right? And so that's how I answer. Now, generally speaking, if you're like, I need to know the companies, then I'll absolutely tell you the companies. But it's just important to understand you've got to use the right type of company that's got the right options. And we've done that homework for you. We know what companies to use. We've got relationships with almost all of them. We know how to design policies. That's actually all that we do here is practice the infinite banking concept and design policies for you. So that's generally how I'd answer that style of question. How'd I do?
I think you did well. Do we want to give the specific ones that we work with?
Sure, man. No matter to me.
All right.
Name them. What you got?
One America,
I like it.
Security Mutual Life,
That's there's 2,
Lafayette,
3.
and then what are the others again?
Oh, come on now. Penn Mutual we like a
There we
lot.
go.
Emeritus Life Insurance Company we like a lot. And I think those are the 5 that we're currently using. There's been some others that we have used and have moved away from. There's been some that have demutualized. I know a lot of people
Mass
don't realize
Mutual,
that.
right?
That was a thing, yeah.
Yep.
So Mass Mutual particularly did not demutualize. There was a different one way back a few years ago that demutualized. So they're a great company. We're using them perfect. And then they say we're actually going to go to stockholders now. No more policyholders get the dividends. Stockholders are going to get them. We're going to demutualize. We're going to become a stock company. So we said, oh, well, we won't put any more policies with you then.
Yeah, doesn't work with infinite banking.
Because I want dividends, don't you?
I do.
Right. So anyway, that's a good question. All right, I got one for you.
Okay, sock it to me.
All right, here's the question. So we get this, it's a variety of 2 questions, right? Someone either asks, how fast can I get the money out of these policies? Now, generally during the presentation, I tell people right away, immediate, but someone always asks, how fast can I actually get it? And then the second part is, how easy is it to get the money out?
Okay. So we'll start with the first question. How fast can I get it out? Jonah uses the term immediately. In the insurance world, immediately means within 30 days of the policy starting. So the reason why that is referred to as immediately is a lot of other policies, whole life insurance policies, it might be a year, 5 years, 10 years before you have access to the cash value. So we are in the business of banking with our policy. So we don't want to sit on that. We want to utilize it as soon as we can. Immediately is within 30 days.
There you go.
So there's that answer.
How easy is it to get out?
That's right. How easy to get out? It's easy. So there's 2 ways. If you are a phone person, you can just call up the company, talk through it with them. It'll auto draft to your account. When you make a payment, it can auto draft from your account. You can even have your premium auto draft from your account. So it's all very simple in that regard. You and I, we don't want to talk to anyone.
Nope.
We are not paperwork people, but we just made a PDF of our paperwork and changed the numbers and then just email it to them, and we don't have to interact with anyone.
It's easy for me. I know some people, maybe if you're older, maybe if you're not so tech savvy, you don't want that option.
Or you're relational.
Yeah, or you're relational. But for me, I like to do my transactions kind of quick, and I like to just do them. So for me, I know that if you request a certain dollar amount, like if you have a pretty high cash value, they're always going to make you fill out a form. Because, I mean, think about it. If an insurance company is about to direct deposit $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 into your bank account, they're going to make sure it's you and your bank account.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's standard. It doesn't matter who's giving you that money. They have to check this stuff, right?
Yep.
You can't mess that up. You can't accidentally send 75 grand to you when it was supposed to go to me, and then I call you and go, hey, I didn't get my 75 grand, and expect them to just send it to me again.
Yeah, that's awkward.
They're not going to do that, right? So they got to check it. So what I did is, and the same thing that you did, we just they have a sheet, one sheeter that you fill out, and I just filled it out one time and then saved it to my computer. And then every time I want money, I change the date on it and send it in.
Yeah. Simple.
Email it. And I like to email because it's easy for me. That's how I can get stuff done quick.
Yep.
And then the company will just direct deposit it to you.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
All right. So another question. What's the process to get started and how long does it take?
I love this question. So a lot of times this is the question I'm looking for when I talk on the phone to someone after having doing a presentation and answering their questions, right? I love this type of question. That means they're pushing, right? Getting ready to get started. So yes, let me answer for you. The entire process, the fastest I've ever seen someone get a policy is just about 18 days. That is the fastest. The slowest I've ever seen someone get a policy started is probably 8 months. Now, here's why it went 8 months. this person dragged their feet. Okay, there are 2 steps that you have to do in order to get a policy started. The first is you have to fill out a formal application with us, with the insurance company. Here's what I mean. We send you the questions the insurance company wants to know ahead of time. And you guys know these questions. Does your family have a history of cancer? Do you have other insurance policies that are active right now? They want to know that stuff. And if you don't have your answers, you decided you lost your driver's license yesterday, so you don't know your driver's license number, right? Does this make sense? You're in the middle of changing your name. All this stuff is real life experience that have happened. I'm changing my name. I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Well, insurance company needs to know your name. What name is, or what name do you have today? What name is it, right? Like, you have to know. If you drag your feet on that stuff, that can take a little bit of time. Second thing you have to do is do a health exam. You've got to pee in a cup. You got to give a little blood. The insurance company needs to know you look as good on the inside as I do on the outside.
Yep.
It was a joke, but it's fine. Okay. Anyway,
I'm just used to you.
You've got to do all this stuff. Okay. So again, people can drag their feet. I hope that you don't, but people can, and people do. So, oh no, I work during the week. I can't do the health exam, and again, the health exam, they'll come to you. They'll come to your office. They'll come to your house. They'll come to your church. But people drag their feet. I'm working during the week. I can only do it on, Sunday at 1. And that's the one time these people don't have the appointment or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then they drag their feet. Then it gets emailed to you and us. And normally we want to take some time to walk you through it. So we'll reach back out. Can we walk you through it? Can we show you exactly what the numbers add up to and where it's guaranteed and you can take it? And then maybe they don't respond to us. Right? They don't respond, or they're busy. They went out of town. Vacation just started. Hit me up in 2 weeks. We're in Mexico right now. And then next thing you know, it's just been forever since you wanted a policy before it started. Now, if you are not that person, that's kind of worst case scenario. But if you're not that person and you decide not to drag your feet, again, the fastest I've ever seen a policy go through is about 18 days. So really what that means to me is that's just under 3 weeks. So I'm going to say 3 weeks to 4 weeks, 5 weeks, right? And somewhere in there is how long it's going to take in order for you to start your policy. Now, if you've got the neck, the back, the hip, the sugar, whatever you've got going on, it could take a tad longer. Maybe they need a little more information from you. But again, it's really not that big of a deal if you're kind of paying attention to it and responding to phone calls and texts and emails. But if you're not, it can take a while. Yeah. If you're not paying attention. Mm-hmm. Right.
Mine took 6 to 8 weeks or somewhere around there. Okay. So not bad.
Cool. Now your wife's went faster than that.
Yeah, we were able to put her information in pretty quickly.
Probably like 1 month.
Yeah,
maybe, right? And we weren't going super fast. We weren't checking every day or something.
No,
but probably about 1 month.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. About 4 weeks. I just had a baby, actually. So my baby's got a policy in underwriting and real fast for babies. No health exam.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an entire step I can skip. So I think it's been about 14 days. Maybe. I'll have to double check. And they're telling me it's ready to go.
Okay. Awesome.
So maybe I got to change my number. Fastest I've ever seen them through is, 2 weeks.
14 days.
Yeah. So that is a great question. Okay, I got one more for you. We get this question a lot. It's got lots of answers. So I'm interested in maybe 1 or 2 of your perspective on it. But we get this question a bunch. And the question is, how does the insurance company make any money?
Okay. So this comes back to you talking about car insurance. And we need to remember life insurance is insurance. So there's going to be similarities in how that money is accumulated and everything. So the simple answer is these insurance companies have tons of different products. They don't just have whole life insurance policies. They have IULs, they have term, all of that type of stuff. So even if my premium isn't, a crazy amount or anything, and I have cash value that I can utilize after 10 years, and I'm wondering where's all this money coming from, the insurance company, if they're doing term policies, then the majority of those don't pay out. As a matter of fact, only about 2% of term policies actually pay out. So all of that money just goes to the insurance company, and they can do whatever they need to do with it.
Absolutely. And you got to remember as well that insurance companies, just like any other company, don't just collect money and sit on it, right? Yep. No company does that. You've got to collect money. You've got to go use it to make more money.
Yeah, similar to banks in that regard.
Standard of how you make money.
Yep.
You have to use the money you've got to make more. And so you've got to understand that insurance companies are assessing risk by collecting premiums all over the board, using those premiums to go make more money. And that's why insurance companies can guarantee those future values, those death benefits. So insurance companies, and one other thing that I like to tell people, I kind of answer this question more frank when people ask me, which is really like, you can Google these companies. We just told you the list of them. They're real companies. Google how much they made. Google their annual report and look it up. And you'll notice that they're making billions of dollars. It's so much money that these companies are making. So they're definitely not worried about your cash value and whether or not they have it. They got it, right?
Yep.
That's the important part.
Yep.
So cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on an episode of the Cash Compound Podcast. Before we leave, I want to give a quick shout out to our fan follow of the week. And our fan follow is actually coming to us from YouTube. So I believe instead of follower, this is technically a subscriber, but we want to give a big shout out to Leo Quinones. Leo Quinones is following us or subscribed to us on YouTube. Leo, thank you so much for doing so. If you've got questions, Leo, this is your time to shine. Put them in the comments, chat them to us, email them to us. We want to answer you. We want to give you a quick shout out for subscribing. We appreciate that. This was our episode on kind of the frequently asked questions and what we've been up to in the last few weeks. As we continue to do more things, we'll have more questions to go over with you. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.